Because I don't know. Like we can go to general though if you want to. I don't think I can. I have to go to this other one. Hang on. Jump over here. Do it from here. Do it from here. Boom. I got to make sure it works too. That's also the question. There it goes. Cool. Hey.
Oh, hi.
Oh my God. Who's this guy?
I don't know. Some loser, probably. All right. This is much easier. Okay. I won't do it for very long, but.
Okay, let's hear it. I'm all listening.
Okay. So the thing you got to take, right?
Okay.
Is this is just my perspective. Javers in chat, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. Is when I look at something I put out, right? If I get no comment from Javer, right? So no criticism, no light jab, no nothing. Probably doesn't give a shit about whatever that is, that product, that project, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
Like if it's really shitty and there's nothing really to build on there, he's not going to give time for it.
Sure.
Then we step into Javer giving light jabs, and sometimes really harsh criticism, but nothing that I don't think is like real. Because it's tough to say that it's what you have to look at when you're measuring feedback that comes in is that the feedback you get from certain individuals, it scales based on that person, what they're doing, how they're interacting with whatever it is they're giving feedback on, right? Like it differs between people.
Sure.
So when I see Javer come in and he gives a lot of critical feedback, but it's a lot, right? And he's still there and he's still, participating with it. That means he cares about it.
Yeah.
And he likes parts of it, and it is a good thing, but maybe there actually is areas of it that need to improve for whatever reason, right? And I have to also, one of the things that was great about Javer is that he provided a lot of times like a preemptive voice to how others would also interpret that project. So when it comes to like feedback on something, and say we were, I won't name things, but certain programs, right? If things went out early and Javer got to see that and he gave feedback, a lot of times if that thing didn't change, we'd see that same feedback.
Yeah.
Right. So oftentimes my first thing was to look for Javer's feedback immediately on stuff, because that's going to be the first thing I want to either address, overcome, figure out a solution for. And oftentimes that allowed me to stay a step ahead of other individuals who either maybe didn't care as much and didn't want to put as much effort into giving feedback, or, it's just sometimes one of those things that something has to be so bad that people give feedback that's the issue, right? Like if it's not a huge failure, general feedback, you won't hear about it. But with Javer, we're always getting the negative feedback.
Yeah.
It's present always. So it's kind of like that litmus test to know how things are going. And I mean, Javer does care about stuff. And Javer does like certain things, and so it's almost always that position of saying like, all right, how close can we get to Javer's negative feedback, handle it, take care of it, see if it works out. And then oftentimes, I mean, most of the time, like if Javer had like a piece of negative feedback, I would just be like, okay, well, what if we fix this? Then would that be better? And then be like, well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Then you say still shitty, but
yeah, exactly. No, I get that completely. I believe in the concept that if you get a reaction, you're moving the needle, and that's the intent.
Exactly.
If you're flat, especially on what we do, like what you and I do, and what this whole space is, it's if you're flat, you're not doing it right.
Exactly.
I get that.
You gotta get it. Also, it's just that rivalry thing is like no joke. When you have somebody that is going to give negative feedback, you're like, you almost work harder to try and avoid that, or make a point against it, right? Like figure out where your evidence is at to go up against that, feedback.
Yeah.
Which is great.
He takes the other side. I know it's been so much fun, because for a while I legitimately thought he despised my existence, and then I asked him at E3 and I'm like, do you hate me? Like, he's like, no, I don't. I'm like, okay, we're good. Got it. Because, high level empath over here. I think everybody hates me. But now he is looking for the evidence to take the other side, and will just say the other side no matter what. He is my what's the word? He's like the bad guy in the movie. You need him to be there, otherwise you don't have a movie.
I mean, true, right? Like it's you got to build your superpower somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And so this is where that goes.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. The ribbing, because we have to go from entertainment, fun characterism to real talk first. Because that's when you said real talk. I'm like, hold on, we're gonna pull back from the repartee and get into the reality, because there's a difference, right? There's a difference.
Right.
Havor and I are not actually blood rivals. Like, I think that should be said. But we definitely are on air. Like, that's the other side of it. We're gonna fight to the death, and we have swords, and it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be the last scene in 300, and everyone's gonna die. It's fine. It's all fine. But then underneath that, yeah, I totally get. Otherwise, why would he have a first badge? Why would he support the channel? Why would he DM? Why would he ask questions? Why would he converse? That takes time, and I think that I know that anybody spending a second in a channel, in a stream, typing, posting, etc., means that there's an interest there, good or bad.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, I would even say that Dopey was always great at giving critical feedback, and I mean, I look for critical feedback. I love it because it saves me time,
Yeah.
right? When I have to fix stuff. Getting just like how people feel about stuff has always been the better case with that. But yeah, you just got to be in there. You just got to be willing to hear what people say. Go and build from that, right?
I'm there. I'm all about that. You know that, Teal. I'm all about that.
I know. You can't say. I think the main thing is like, you can't surround yourself. You surround yourself with yes men, you'll get told no somewhere else, right? Like,
oh yeah,
if you just surround yourself with a bunch of people that are going to be like, oh yeah, this is great, totally, never blah blah blah. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, no, I try not to have those type of people around in my circle.
They're toxic. They leech off of you. It's gross.
It doesn't get you anywhere positive. So no, I was more saying, I think I led with the wrong phrasing, because I was still too excited that you were here. That's just reality. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. It's unhealthy that I fanboy over you this hard. That's reality. It's fine. I have a T-shirt with your name on it.
For me. It's unhealthy for me. It's unhealthy for me and my ego that you fangirl over me. Okay?
I am here to feed your ego as much as you need it.
Oh,
big daddy.
Jeez.
No, I think that what was I saying? Oh, I got off on the wrong foot, because I look at, in general, negativity, pessimism, cynicism, those type of where you're coming from, not you, the royal people, where they come from, in that light is never constructive. It's toxic, it's leeching, it's exactly the same as the yes man you referred to. In that light, I try to shun away from the misery loves company type of mentality, where people pull you down in an energy level, not in a product level. I think that's where I was going with that, and I think I phrased it incorrectly, because
I mean you're right. I would agree with you. No, I would agree with you, right? So in that negative, that type of space, right, where that's a negative energy, right, that they're putting on your situation, right, and into your life. Definitely agree with that. I think it's the negativity I was like kind of referencing. Is you got to kind of look at it like, I look at negativity like in the sense of are you familiar with like a positive reaction when it comes to like teaching something to like either a kid or to like to anybody? Do you know what like a positive and negative? Do you know what the difference is in that?
I feel like that's a loaded question. Go on. I'm listening.
Okay, so it's like the positive is like that's something being added to the situation, right?
Yeah.
Something being added to the scenario is positive, right? There's a growth in that. Negative means an absence.
Sure.
So there's nothing to go from there, right? There's no feedback. There's no input. There's no time, right? Like something like that is where it kind of comes in. It's like So when I say like something is a negative comment, it's like is it unhelpful? Does it not add anything? Does it not go from there?
It's subtractive. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
Right. Or
you.
it doesn't add anything to you, right? Like you sit there if you could I mean obviously, right, I would say you sit there all day, hear Jabber, add in different comments and come in with stuff, right? You're like, okay, this dude, this guy thinks my mic sucks. I'm gonna show him how good my mic is next time, right?
Yeah,
Or like whatever it is that they're picking and getting onto.
yeah. No,
He's going to send you are you going to send me a cake? What kind of cake are you sending
I
me?
have no knowledge of this case. See, this is what he does. This is what he does. This is the stuff you miss. I don't know. Like, I feel like this is intervention now. Now we're going, Penguin. Listen to Havor. He is the voice of reason, and look what he's doing. Look what he.
He's just all right. I gotta admit, he just offered. He messaged me. He said, "I'll give you
I
$100.
believe this.
Come in here, talk really good about me,
I believe this.
convince Penguin to make me his producer full time." And
Yeah, and what's funny about what you're saying right now
oh
is
shit, I didn't read the line at the bottom that said not to mention that. Oh
what's
no.
hysterical about all of this, Teal, is the fact that just the other day he did ask to be a producer, asked what the budget was, and now you planted the seed for you to come in here and say this. It's almost like you've been watching this entire time.
It's almost like it was part of the plan the entire time.
I'm not saying no, and this is where you're saying this almost in jest, but I think it's real.
How far, Penguin? How far out did I say I planned stuff?
I know. Oh my god, why are you doing this?
I told you, I'm all about that long-term planning. Okay.
I get the long term plan. You're playing the long con game like next level, man. You have written the next 17 chapters of the book. I get that. I'm 100% on board. But why'd you have to pick him?
Certain people just keep throwing out the book, though. It's just a
I
problem.
I know. I get it. I get it. I get it.
It's okay.
Are you sending me a cake? Is the question I have for you now? Because I want cake.
Gosh. Okay. Oh, well, fine. I'll send you a cake.
Are you sending me cake? Oh my god, I'm excited now.
Okay. I'll have to figure out how to send you cake.
I have to figure out how to send you cake. Okay, this is the thing now. Okay, no, legit. This is what we need to do. Wait, when is your birthday?
April.
Oh, it's not even your birthday, and I'm sending you cake. Why am I sending you cake? Like now, it's August.
Way to point out how fucking late you are. Sorry,
Oh,
I don't know if you
oh my
curse on your
god.
stream.
No, it's fine. It's you. I don't care.
I know.
You're allowed to break all of the rules. I don't think you realize this. Again, like I know, again, half in jest because I'm fanboying and I'm playing up the whole thing because content and on air and who I am is me up to 11 on stream. I get that, but like you're allowed to break
Yeah.
the rules.
Aw.
But I think you
What a
know that.
Taco
I
Bell.
think you know that.
People are getting Taco Bell too. I know. I
Taco
think
Bell.
that's the thing, right?
The potato. Well, hang on. The Taco Bell thing's a problem because the potatoes are going away tomorrow. So literally, I want every potato item on the damn menu tonight. Got a half hour.
Do you think they're sitting there like with all the potatoes?
I hope they're eating them. Just all of the extras, like just constantly.
What do they do? Like, do you think they ran out? Do you think certain stores ran out today?
I think they
didn't order
did. I
more.
think they've been running out for like a week because they probably didn't ship new potatoes.
Going to Subway. What kind of
Subway's a joke. But yeah, you're allowed to break all the rules. To the point of that, you are allowed. You are probably one of 3 people that I'd be like, you can do whatever you want. I don't care.
And see, I think it's almost that same thing, right? Like and I would say, and this is just insider. Like, if you are ever in community management, there are people who will break rules,
Mhm.
but they understand how to break the rules in a way that it does not interfere with things.
Yes.
Like in the sense of like, oh, maybe they, say something, or maybe in certain people's cases they come off really negative to other people, and I've definitely gotten that feedback from more than just Jabber over my time in gaming. And sometimes you just gotta be like, hey, I can turn away, right? Like I can turn around and not worry about you, Jabber, Dopey, doing something that sets the entire community on fire, right?
I don't think you can
Jabber,
say that after the 3 meetings you had to have about me.
Look, man, I didn't tell anybody about those meetings.
No,
You out of
I've
your-
joked. I joked about it once. I was like, Teal's gone to bat for me a couple of times. But no, I get your point. I get your point.
But yeah, but I mean I mean, okay, I will admit Jabber, maybe I'm not going to be as comfortable turning around. Just make sure he doesn't have anything flammable in his hands, right?
Yeah, got to check his hands first.
Where they threat to quit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's just times when it happens, right? People can break rules. It's all good.
Yeah,
It happens.
there's a
People are
line.
people. I think that's the big thing to learn too, is that people are people. You have to learn how to approach different people.
Where I gotta ask you, where
That's a huge conversation, though.
it is. I gotta ask you, where is all this insight stemming from? I know we kind of joked about the whole negativity thing, but why do I deserve your imparting of knowledge here on a Wednesday just randomly?
Well, the date and time is random. That is just fact.
That's true.
But I don't know. Like for me, it's just been kind of like a thing of like just being out there to share stuff, tell people what's going on, like I had to learn a lot of shit the hard way, like in my jobs up to this point.
Yeah.
Still having to learn a lot of hard shit. How about that controller like? Yeah,
Oh. That's an
a
offline
hard-
conversation.
I mean, everybody's seen the controller out there.
Yes, I know, but I don't know your involvement in that.
Well, I mean, I have nothing to do with that, but it's just a reference of like things happen.
Okay,
Right,
yes,
and you
got
have
it.
to learn. You have to learn from it. And I can neither confirm nor deny what that controller is, or where it came from.
Microsoft does not comment on rumor or speculation.
That is right.
I know this.
That's a fact.
That's a Snapple fact.
But yeah, no, I mean, just sharing stuff out there, letting people like, there's just so much that goes in. Like, honestly, community management is one of the most underrated, like, sectors of the gaming industry.
Hands down.
Like, 100. And then you just have to learn. Like, half of community management is honestly figuring out how to get people to not self-destruct.
Yep.
Because they like either, because your community, you have to imagine a community is so wide that there's like everybody thinks of like, oh, I've got this community and it's just one whole community, and that is not the case.
Nope.
It is a bunch of different sections. It looks like a freaking completed Tetris game, right, of all these different things that intersect and connect to each other, and not having it fall apart is like the number one job when you're working there, right? Figure out what works, figure out what people have. Oh, Fohammer's ring. Oh, okay. I see who that is.
Yeah, Faux chills out in the street, man. We got all the cool people in here, Teal.
Oh man.
And now you.
Now it's somebody on the inside.
There's several people on the inside. Cecil's in here.
Oh, jeez.
Sam hangs out in here from time to time.
Right.
We got a whole bunch of people in here, man.
Oh yeah. Sam would be a great source if it's like knowing how to juggle not only, I mean, how to juggle not one,
Yeah.
right, but like multiple communities at the same time. That is, I do not envy that. But yeah, you're cool, Zen. Yeah. Ruxpin 2 now. Yeah.
I've said this on record. Capitance, because his name is not Ruxpin anymore, and I got to get used to that. You're still Teal, though, because, again, your username. Capitance, probably the next up-and-coming content creator to blow, like, hands down. Super creative, super clever, passionate, hungry, skillful. I've said that on record before. Now I'll say it again. Teal will probably co-sign it.
Definitely. That's, Terrence is absolutely one of like the, what's a good word? Like sponge. Like that dude, like nonstop. Like you think this was like, because we shared an office for a little bit. I don't know if you ever knew that. We shared an office and sat like 4 feet from each other. real tight sometimes. So especially with those long legs of his, like
Oh
just
yeah.
dude would like sit back from the chair, hit the wall. All right, like I'm over in the corner, 5 foot, 7 on a good day, depending on the convenience store. Yeah, but yeah, like that dude's absolutely. I was gonna say that was actually an example, like right, like you put out a video and like first thing I did is message him like, "Yo, dude, that's great. Yeah, by the way, where's your background music?"
Yeah.
It's like it's so silent, and he's like, "Oh, I got some. I just haven't put it in." Like, okay, well, there you go. Right. So yeah, like that's the whole thing, right? Like, you can add a little bit of criticism and see how somebody's gonna do, see if they'll improve, all that good stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, yeah, I've this is just another spoke in the wheel, man, of moving with the times. I mean, we go from like podcast to Ustream and live stream and working with a podcast network that didn't really take us to where we needed to go, and then you giving me a tap on the shoulder to try out the Twitch thing, and then moving it over to Beam, then it's Mixer, then whatever happened, and then now back here. It's just changing and moving and figuring out what works, and listening to not only your community but listening to those in other communities that you're moving into of what they're doing and what's working for them, and trying to understand that every medium is different and
Oh
it's
yeah.
dynamic.
I've come so far over the years, a lot of changes. We're still connected. That's right. Right, foe.
That is right. Man, it's so interesting coming back here too, because you talk about community and all the different sectors. The people I had on Twitch before I went over to Beam, and then the people that I was fortunate enough to have enjoy my content with Xbox ambassadors, and then all my other stuff from old stuff that I've done all came back on Twitch when I came back here. It's like everybody showed back up, and it's the coolest thing because you have all these different walks of life that you've encountered through your entire doing this, and they're all together happy in a little bubble, all kind of part as one thing. It's the craziest thing to think how people all connect. Like you showing up here today, like where the hell have you been? I'm so glad you're here.
I've been in a rock. I've been under a rock. I don't know if you know, but there's like a console releasing this year. So like
I
things are busy.
You're not wrong. I get it. I get it. I know.
But
Things happening. I heard this little virus that started, a little not too long ago that
oh geez,
is
yeah.
supposed to just go away magically with a miracle. I get it.
We just stopped reporting on it.
Yeah, just that's easy. That's why the numbers are so high because we're testing so much. If we stop testing, the numbers go away. Duh. Basic math. Duh.
That and I can say it wasn't. It's never happened. Like this isn't an example from Xbox, but before Xbox, I worked for a government agency, for the state of California, and they that is a legitimate strategy. I heard in a meeting. So there's a lot of people with a lot of zeros at the end of their name because of tax dollars. And I was just like, oh man.
I believe you. I totally believe it.
It was literally something as easy as like, it was like knowing how dangerous a certain area was. They're like, well, it's because we're taking all these criminal reports. And I'm like, you understand that reports only happen after the crime, so you can't.
Yeah, reports are a symptom, not the cause. I think are we aware of this?
Like, if we just stop taking in so many reports, it's like that's not how that works. But,
no.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, so now that's a real thing.
Well, okay, let me ask you this because I know you didn't want to be long, but I've got you here and I'm going to ask the question.
I'm here. I'm sit down. I've got a drink. Lay away. Go for
well,
it.
Because this guy over here's got to be up in 4.5 hours. So like time's on my side, right? Time work.
You're on the weird time.
I'm on real people time. I know. Let me ask
Pacific,
you.
real people time.
Arguable. So when does the stock market open? Right, Eastern time. So like I'm just saying. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. Teal, listen, I'm asking you a question.
Sure, you can tell me when the vampires come out of their coffin, but that doesn't matter to me.
What can you? I asked you this on Twitter. I'm gonna press you now.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
what cool thing have you had your
Mhm.
hands on that has
Yeah.
already been released that you're proud of since you moved on to this other role that you've been in? Things that are out there. I'm not asking NDA. I know I respect the NDA. I'm not saying that. I'm saying things that are out there that we know about.
The things that you, well, okay, so I can explain my job a little bit more, right? So that way you kind of understand.
Yes.
So I work for the design team that creates marketing materials, specifically emails, for Xbox, right? So I'm a PM over all, like, not all of them, but a lot of the messages and emails that go out from Xbox. So if you get an email, I would say 50% chance, maybe more, depending on which marketing mail beat it is, that's something I've directly crafted and managed a team to make that email, the messaging inside of it, the images, all that kind of stuff. So all emails you can complain to Teal. Got it.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. What so this is going to be the weirdest question I think I've ever asked in my life.
hmm
How many Xboxers does it take to craft an email?
Uh, a lot. I don't even want to.
more than the amount of fingers and toes that a person has.
I did not send out closing emails. I can say that wasn't. That's
Oh
not on
god.
my plate. That's not
No.
on my plate.
Well, because that
Let's
happened on
see.
social. That wasn't on Teal's watch. That was in social. That's Stein's fault.
Oh, jeez.
I
I
love
think
Stein. Shout out to Stein.
yeah, Stein. I think Stein moved over to hardware a little while ago, something like that. I think
Did
he
he? I
did
think
his
I think he
hardware.
moved. Didn't he move over to Xbox Social? Did he move again?
Well, I think he moved over to Xbox Social, maybe something else. I can't
No.
remember off the top of my head,
There's too
but
many people.
yeah,
I can't keep up.
that's a cool dude.
Love Stein.
Stein, ooh, woo. Oh, jeez. Okay, easy now. uh, and see, like, I will say this. This is a habit I can never break. I will never not be able to read stream chat at the same time I'm talking to somebody.
I get it. I
Like,
can't either. I get it.
ugh.
I'm just
Like sometimes.
doing the professional broadcaster role of not doing it while I have a guest on my show. But you can do whatever you want.
I know. I'm the guest. I can just go ahead and change everything.
That's right. I just go with it.
No, yeah. But oh my gosh, yeah. I still think about. I'm still saddened to this day the time that I tried to get you to call, like, tried to get your call into work for our Extra Life stream. It's like the first year I was doing stuff. We did like an Extra Life stream, and you were going to join in via Skype, and for whatever reason, Skype being Skype,
Yep.
and like didn't want to work. And I was just like, what the? I
I was
tried
so
so hard.
sad. I was
I
so
know.
destroyed.
You were sad. I was sad.
Well,
Okay, I had 15 minutes to fill. Okay, I had to figure. I
I,
think I had to make somebody do push-ups. Skype's great. What are you talking about?
Skype's amazing.
Oh yeah, but that was just. I think that to me is like the biggest thing looking back, right?
What's
Like
that?
just the scale of streaming and the things that, like, when I started, what I was told was important, and with streaming and like, or maybe not like what was important, but like, hey, there's this streaming thing. People in leadership thinks it's a big deal. Can you go and like help grow this channel?
Without any idea of the budget needed, what it takes, the concept that you need to employ, none of just, hey, this is important. Can you do it?
Like that, like honestly, the PC that I streamed on for I don't even know how long, a little while before we got like the actual streaming machine that you would need to do this. I think probably out of the box, $500. Like, like
Easily.
honestly,
Yeah.
looking at the stuff inside of it, like it was rough. Like I think the graphics card couldn't have been more than like a like a 600, like when it was in there. A 600 series NVIDIA card is what was in there.
Struggling. And they were like,
Oh
this is
god.
fine. You got this.
Well, I mean that was the biggest deal from when we switched from Twitch to Beam. Is that on Twitch with the latency, with all that, like you could do it pretty well. With a lower end machine, but then it was like, oh no, you got to do FTL, that it's instant encoding your machine needs to do, and it's like, oh no. I literally melted a brand new card on FTL. I can say that for a fact.
Really?
100% destroyed. I bought or I didn't buy it. We bought a.
No, you bought it. I got it. You had the MX. I get it.
I never got to have the MX. Well, no, I mean, when I first was like, hey, so I need to get a new stream machine, like the big one. And they were like, cool, how much is it going to be? And I was like, $3,000. And they were like, what? I was like,
Teal,
yeah. And then
Teal, that's 0.00004% of our profit every quarter. We can't do that.
well, I mean, okay, like it breaks out for a team, right? Like they don't have all that money. But yeah, no, I because I tried to like upgrade the PC like that we had. I was like, I'll just buy a new graphics card. I'll get more RAM for it, right? Like I'll do all the cheap things if this is what you guys want me to do instead of going for the big machine. And they were like, yeah, let's do that. And I got like a brand new, I think at the time it was like an 800 series because it was just before the 10 series came out.
Yep.
Bought an 8 series, put it in the machine, and started running it. Ran great for like literally an hour, and then I started seeing the like pink and blue squares pop up on the monitor.
You started
like
melting the board.
And I was like, what I'd never seen it. I'd never seen that before.
What is this sight in front of me?
And think it just started happening. Like it just started like taking over this, and then the PC shut off. And I've never had a PC shut off. It just like, and it didn't like. I think like if you hold down the button and you have like a computer like hard turn off, like power down.
Yeah.
This wasn't like that. Like it just stopped.
Yep.
And then the screen froze, and then the screen went black, and I didn't hear anything. And I was like, what? Uh-oh. And then we got a new stream machine.
So you let me ask you this, was that by intent?
I can neither confirm nor deny. All I'll say is
I'm reading through the lines, man. I'm getting it.
You just got to be real careful. You got to be real careful about pushing that FTL technology.
Yeah, you can't stream at 55,000 kilobits per second because it causes some strain.
Oh God. Okay. All right.
I'm also agreeing with Havor. This is the first time I'm going to agree with Havor on stream. Now, can I say something to Teal? I am disappointed that he never gave away hats as a raffle. I agree. Y'all had the cool. No, here's the thing. Formal complaint. Y'all had the coolest friggin' swag. We never got any of it. Like we as a group, like as a not a streaming group, as a group of people, never got any of it. It was the coolest stuff ever. Like we would buy it. We would have bought it. Never. Why not the hats? What's the reason?
I mean, do you want me to say the thing that's really going to break Jabber's heart right now?
Let's hear it. Well, yeah, of course I want to break Jabber's. Are you kidding me? Let's go.
Those tropical hats exist.
Stop it.
And they were not approved.
Oh. Not approved. But they existed.
Well, I mean, like they're not like anything like printed for the program or anything like that. But there's, if anything, I hope we got rid of it. Scotty might have 2 tropical hats, generic tropical hats, sitting in like a box somewhere. That we were gonna give away. But the issue was, this brings us back to the evilness that is Jabber.
Let's hear it.
I kept telling people, I was like, I have to give one to Jabber. I was like, one has to go to him. And I was like, seriously telling people, I was like, I don't care if you have to make it happen when the raffle happens.
Oh my god.
Well, because I never would have heard the end of it. I would have
Right.
never heard the end of it if like, because I had them and I was like, okay, well, let me go on stream. And then at the time, I think Jabber was like working a lot, so it wasn't in a lot of those streams. And I was like, I can't just like show up on stream and be like, all right, we're gonna raffle them away, give them to two randos in the stream, right? Or like,
Yes, you
God
could
forbid,
have.
God forbid, God forbid somebody like like that Jabber knows that could rub it in Jabber's face like all the time. So in the end, right, because but the realness of it, like couldn't fix it. Like we couldn't fix the results so that Jabber won. That would be shitty. So it's like
Eh.
we just didn't end up giving them away
I would pay American dollars for the other one.
for the other one. I don't know. You'd have to see. I mean, I hope I hope Scotty got rid of him because they sat there for so long.
These are the untold stories of the Xbox ambassadors.
Hey, whoa, I did not speak for the program.
Nope, you don't. You do not. You do not at all. Malik probably took them.
No,
Malik wouldn't do that.
no, Malik gets cool. Malik gets to see cooler stuff for the Xbox MVP program.
Malik gets to see cooler stuff. Period. Like that's just he works his tail off to get into some interesting buildings. Quick took him. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, Malik works too hard all the time.
Is that a bad thing in Microsoft culture? Let me ask you that question.
You want to talk about loaded questions?
I know. You forgot who you're talking to for a second, didn't you?
Okay. You're asking is working very hard, or is working too hard in your position?
You said he works too hard. I'm asking, is working too hard a bad thing in Microsoft culture?
I would say it is and I can only, I've seen it the most at my time at Xbox. And what I'm specifically referencing of what I'm seeing is I've seen so many people who work so hard and put all of their effort into it, right? And not all cases, right? But like it wears on somebody, right?
Yeah.
Like it's draining, it's tiring. And so I have seen so many people with so much passion, so much. Trust me, at Microsoft campus, there are people that are too smart. That you just meet them and you're like, oh man, you might know how to build a time machine. And then you're like, do I know what you work on? Do you work on a time machine? like kind of like they're just too smart. Like, but in other areas, it's just like people work so hard, right? They care about what they're doing, and it's I've seen that the most at Xbox is that there's so many people working so hard to make things happen, right? And to pull off things that you're like that made no sense at the beginning, what you were explaining to me, and then by the end, like you're hooked, right?
Yeah.
Because of everything that's got to happen, right? I think that's the hardest thing, especially in community management. It's figuring out just logistics of anything, of how things work, when things happen, when they need to happen for things to go well, when there's even really dumb timelines that you have to manage where you're just like, I just have to put this down on paper to show somebody else so they know when to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to function, right? What happened to the ambassador? I don't want to talk about that.
I want to comment real quick before you continue, because I want to make sure I underline this. I think a lot of that, what you said, goes unseen, number one, but number two, I think it's safe to say, and I say this as a former journalist covering Microsoft and as a fan of the company most of the time, Microsoft hires the best people. On the super smart side, on the super passionate side, it's A players. To your point,
right, and I think so. Yeah, so I mean, just to make sure I answer give you like a real answer for that is I don't know that that's a Microsoft culture problem. I think it is a passionate overly I mean, I think it's a passionate and dedicated people problem, right? Because it like in the reality of things, right? Like you run the risk of burnout.
Yeah.
Like like that is a one like I know people talk about like, oh, I feel burnt out. Like no, like if you ever meet somebody that's like in the grips of burnout, like it is not it's not good. That is a different person. Like
Mm-hmm.
it is rough. I've only seen that much of a change in somebody when like uh, things are bad, right? Um, so like with that risk in there, like it's just it's a thing that people need to be more aware of and definitely stay on top of. And I would say that it's definitely very present because of how high stakes, how passionate, like you mentioned, right? Like the people that are hired there, they're there to do something, right? And they're not only there to do something, they're there to do even more than they were asked to do because we're gonna do cool shit, right? Like,
Right. Right.
like gotta do cool shit. Do I think it's cool?
Oh wow. Hold on. Hold on. Dopey has come in and gifted you a sub, my friend.
I see that now. I'm subscribed.
You are subscribed. You have been indoctrinated into the inner circle.
Uh, this is the inner circle I've been indoctrinated
You have
into.
just been subscribed to the inner circle. We are woke, sir. And we do cool shit. So welcome to the inner circle. You didn't even know this was going to happen tonight, and it just happened to fall into your lap.
Oh, jeez.
How do you feel right now? Little shallow, little pedantic? I get it.
It's a little chilly. It's a little chilly in here. I'll just say that.
You get used to it after a while.
Okay.
Let me ask you this.
Just gotta slide.
It's got to slide a little bit. Slide to the left. Take it back now, y'all. You've been now at Microsoft for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years? Do I have that right? 7?
6.
6?
6, yeah.
I was close.
Yeah.
What is the number one thing? And you let me preface, you have moved up the ladder quite successfully, I'd say, for someone who in other positions might not have gotten FTE or might have not moved up positions. What is the one thing you would tell somebody if you had met them in a Discord where they go, I want to work at Microsoft and be whatever, or it would be so cool to have a job at Xbox? What would be the thing you would tell them is the most important asset or skill to have to be successful in doing that?
Well, I mean, just to clarify, still a vendor, not an FT.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot you moved to another building.
Yeah.
Well,
all that way. Get your head examined and move on.
Damn. Shots fired.
My biggest thing.
Because I don't think it's what Dopey says. I don't think it's be a yes man. I don't think, especially right now under current leadership, that is the answer. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that's the answer.
I would. Okay. Well, here's the thing: are you talking about just like of that trying to move up, move forward, move deeper into the company?
Yeah.
Because I will say being a yes man can get you into certain places. 100. Like it's just fact. And I think you would probably even agree, right? Like sometimes it's not even the fact of like that whole thing, but it's like of a person who is a yes man, but when you're there and you're forcing yourself to be in that situation to be a yes man, sometimes you can get drug along with it, right? Regardless of whether or not you're actually helping it or not.
Sure.
Do I think it's good? Do I think it's good for you and your success? Of course not. What I will say though is that the biggest thing you can do, and this is one I would say this is even before you get in the before you get in the door, right? It is figure out what is the value you want to bring before you interview on a team, before you get onto a team, right? Like it's like what is that value I'm going to bring? Learn how to talk about that value, learn about how to measure that value that you bring to the like you would bring and have that ready because like time and time again, like that is going to get checked, right? You are going to get checked hard into the boards if you cannot defend what it is that you're doing, the projects you're trying to put forward, the debate, like whatever it is, like if you're trying to build out a full like system that needs to function together, like whatever it is, like if you can't say I'm bringing value and understanding to different like logistical components and human style management that goes into building a successful community team that functions and it pulls in content and resurfaces back out, like if you can't do that, then you're just going to get eaten alive by the system, right? Like, because they need to figure out what it is. Like, the biggest deal I would say that I learned at Microsoft is if you cannot measure it, it does not exist.
Really?
And that's not in the sense of being cynical or being like putting people's stuff down. Like, if it's just a matter of like what they need, like, what I've learned is like half the time, if you can measure it, like, as long as you can measure it, if it fails, but if you can measure why it failed, then it's a win. Like if I can say, "Hey, we did this thing and it sucked. People hated it. They didn't buy it. But we know that they didn't buy it because X, Y, and Z is a win." Because you say, "Okay, let's do X, Y, and Z." And then you measure that again. You say, "Hey, guess what? We did X, Y, and Z. We did better. We didn't do amazing. Why is that?" Well, because we continued to measure it and guess what? We found out it's not really Z that matters. It's actually W before they even get to it. Like so we need to figure out how to impact W. And then you go from there, right? And so it's just if you can figure out how to measure it, measure your successes, figure out how to measure your value, and that doesn't have to be like purely quantitative, right? Like it doesn't got to just be numbers, right? Like, oh yeah, I increased blah reach by 15%. Cool. What did that 15% get you though? Right? Like if you're going to say I'm going to measure off of the engagement, I'm going to measure off of the number of people who continue to engage in a certain space and give feedback or participate in whatever, then like it can be qualitative in nature. You can measure qualitative things. It's just you have to be a little bit. It's harder, I would say, definitely as somebody coming from a communications background, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like and not from a marketing learning. Like, oh, the click through rate is CTR is this, but the click through rate to open and average it, like that's where I start to get lost, right?
Yep. Yep.
I'm like, did people read it and give a shit about what we put?
But see that
Okay.
how do you put to that point, how do you measure that? That's creativity. How do you measure that? You can have 2x average open rate, but if nobody actually read the email or cared, those measurements don't matter. So how do you measure creativity? Like for the ambassador channel, how did you measure success?
Well, I mean, okay. There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of ways, but I mean, so part of the thing that I always gave a shit about, right, is and and Terrence can even attest to this, right? Is I never like one of the things that's a big deal, right? Like the whole like, oh, we hit so many followers, oh, we hit so many viewers, like
Yeah.
concurrent viewers, right? Like that's great. It looks great. It looks great on the reports. We're going up, like
Yep.
it looks great. But the thing is that, and I did a little bit of like, I even looked into this, right? Um, is I honestly only gave a shit about like when it came to the channel, did I want to engage? Did I want to say anything like on it? Like, because that was the biggest thing. I mean, so you have to look at what is the engagement point, right, for a specific platform. For streaming, it's for the viewer, it's the chat,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's do they chat? Do they say hello? Do they? Um, you can also count if you don't want to count chatting because that is a high. For me, I measured that because that is a high barrier, right?
Yeah.
So you have to look at the barriers in place for somebody to actually take an action. And saying hello in a chat is the highest barrier. aside from, I mean, I don't know. This is kind of a personal thing, but like I would say saying hello is oftentimes more takes more effort, and like actually participating in the chat takes more effort than sending a monetary donation,
I would
right? Because
agree. I would agree.
I can send a monetary donation whenever, right? Like, and put whatever. I don't even have to put my name. But like if I'm in a chat, it's the highest barrier. So what you have to look at then is how do we reduce that high barrier to the point to where anybody who comes in feels comfortable to the point that they can say hello, they can join in on a conversation, they can talk to somebody, they can talk to the stream about what's going on, they can talk to the host about the game they're playing or whatever it is they're talking about, right? They can join in. And I mean, wasn't necessarily used, right? But like when I would look at Xbox Ambassador's channel, um, on Mixer at the time, and I would imagine I would hope, obviously, it's still the case, and it probably is still the case even on Twitch. Is we had such high numbers in people who were brand new to the platform, like because we could see it on the back end, right? I couldn't see it, but I could ask the people who could to see, where are people going, and it's like we had like 2 to 3 times of any other channel, people would come in and they would say something. They're like, if they're gonna say something, their first, it was like something like when the person was like, and this wasn't, I can't confirm it, but like they said like if we're gonna look at somebody, the first thing they said on the platform, if we pulled their entire chat record, the first message they sent was in the ambassador's channel.
That's amazing.
Like if they'd visited the channel, of course, right? But like if they had, their first message was there. It was great because that meant we had successfully dropped that barrier to the point where people felt comfortable to say something, even if it was something stupid. Like, of course, there's gonna be people that say something stupid, but like they're there, they can say hello. And so for me, like that was the thing, right? Like measuring like how many people were getting involved, how many people were getting engaged, um, in the conversation, right? And this is even still present today in the program, right? Join the conversation, all that kind of stuff. Just getting people involved.
But that was important to you. How did that get important? How was that relayed importance to your direct supervisor to be aligned with the goals that they had and expectations they had? Was that a you had to defend it, or was that a we want to do this?
Um, so I probably can't talk about all of like the reasoning for certain
That's
like
fair.
decisions.
That's fair.
Uh,
I'm not trying to box you in that corner. Let me make sure that's clear. I'm just asking.
I know. I probably can't answer that to a full degree, just because of however many NDAs I've signed up to this point. Start to lose track. But right, it's the whole thing of what we have to. I would say, in all honesty, actually, ambassadors program is a unicorn. It is a freaking unicorn,
Yeah.
1000%. Like even in other gaming communities that I've joined, checked out, learned from, which is a big deal. Um, like it, it is just weirdly different in the ambassador space. Just the amount of people who actually give a shit about the community, the amount of people who actually care, and that's just in the community, like ambassadors. The amount of people who actually give a shit, like I've been flat out told by people with research degrees, it is weird how many people care about your community and are willing to participate to make it better.
Yeah.
Like they flat out, they were like, we don't see this. They were just like, we think something is wrong. They thought something was wrong with the people. Like they thought we had like, in all honesty, like it's just the amount of people who give a shit in the Xbox community, and who became part of the Xbox ambassadors community. It's phenomenal, right? Um, and the ambassador program overall, right? Like it's been allowed to function as kind of like this. Started out as only support, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then drifted from that, and the way that I communicated that, similar to how I've done now, right? It's just showing them like, hey, what are you looking at as far like just showing them like, look, here are all of the people who showed up. and here are all the people who continue to chat, say stuff. I mean, honestly, like there were times when it was like I couldn't not have an example of goodness, right? Overall, and as a generalization, goodness happening in any stream, right? In any stream that was happening, almost like undoubtedly, somebody would just come in and be like, "Oh, hey, you're playing that? Yeah, I'm not able to do that." And sure enough, somebody dopey be like, "Oh yeah, there's a service alert."
Yeah,
like
every
just
time.
nonstop, right? Like in anybody, or like, "Oh, I don't know how to do this." "Oh yeah, you gotta go into your profile setting and turn this mic setting on," right?
Yeah.
Like it just it's nonstop. So it's just
So you could show those things that were not quantitative, but they were qualitative, and you could show that and say, "This is working. Here's why."
right. And I mean, I will say, like, I will say even up to now, like, I didn't necessarily find like a magic number to measure or find like the thing, right? Like because it's hard. It's extremely hard. But what we did see like is just we just saw like a continued like the biggest thing that I was ever like really behind and able to really show, right, is just that, and I'll say this is that what we found is that what we had when we started, right, the ambassadors, is that there was even Dopey message brings it up. There was one outlet for being supportive
Mm-hmm.
or being an ambassador. That's one outlet. And the thing that streaming did, and what I ended up like forcing down people's, like showing to my manager, teaching them, is that, and it kind of circles back to what I mentioned earlier, is that not everybody wants to do that same outlet,
Yeah.
right? People want to help in different ways. There were plenty of people that we saw completely fall off what at the time was like just the support side of it, but they were nonstop present in streams.
I'll tell you this,
It would be like,
that applies for me. I've been in the program for 2011, so I was doing the support thing, and I didn't really get what I was doing, and like I I helped one dude for like an hour, like his mom or whatever it was, for like an hour one time, and then I was like, I'm tired. Like that took a lot of my time, and I love that I helped them, but like I can't do that all the time, right? And I started having kids, and things were happening. The minute you tapped on my shoulder, and I'll say this publicly, and I've said it before, I'll say it to you. You made me fall in love with the program again because you gave me a chance to do something that I love that will help people and just to create conversations. And now I have some of my best friends. I think I talk to Pandy and Dopey. Well, I talk to Pandy pretty much every day. I talk to Dopey and Choppy at least once a week. Like we chat all the time that I would never have done that if there wasn't another outlet for me to do what I love. And I think that to your point, you created a lower barrier for people to engage in the program in different ways that rekindled that love for that unicorn that you alluded to.
yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like it's one additional. I think it's the biggest thing, and I could say this too is like, and this goes in for anything, right? Like, it, if we can keep people around, whatever it is, whatever product you want to like, whatever it is, if you can keep people around it, right? It's like and give them a reason to be there, then it's like then you just don't have. It's like you don't have to worry about it then,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, but you have to maintain. Like that's the important thing is you have to maintain that reason for them to be there, right? And so my thing was always like, yeah, but what if something happens? What if like you talked about, life happens.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be doing this other part of the program. Come watch a stream. Come like chill. Do whatever you got to be doing. If you're taking night classes, doing your masters, doing you got kids going on. You got it on the TV. Whatever, right? Like, like just hang out.
God Malone, thank you for the follow. That's a great point, and it creates. I seem like a nice Teal. He thinks he or she or them they think I'm a nice person.
Oh, if only they knew you.
I know. If the truth came out, no, come on now.
I know.
No, that's a great point. And I think that was something that I was so curious as the buy-in and going back to what you said. They were like, oh, this is a streaming thing. It's important. Go figure it out. Like, okay, well, obviously you can't talk about it, but like, what are you looking for out of this? Like, what do you mean? Go figure it out. Like, as somebody who's been streaming for God more than half my life now, like, there's so many questions that I have when posed that challenge. That it's like, okay, well, what are you looking for? What's your measurement of success versus my measurement of success? Because that might be different depending on who you're asking, from you to your manager to their director to the I don't know, all the way up to P3. Like, what does that look like? And that answer could be so different. So it's interesting that you say you can qualitatively measure things, because I'm currently struggling dealing with a creative job where they're measuring off of quantitative KPIs, which have no bearing on success, and then they're still judging it based on
Yeah,
quantity,
I mean,
which is not a measurement of success for a creative role. Not all the time, at least.
yeah, I mean, I will say that that is, um, that could be a fault, like in certain creative parts. I'm not gonna shy away from saying the fact of, in my time, right, doing what I've done, I had not met people that are strictly focused on quantitative results, right?
Hmm.
And it's like, you just learn, like, okay, well, they're focused on that, right? That's cool. They can go and do that. Luckily enough, it's never been on anybody that I've had to directly work with. But
Gotcha.
right, but and I see, like, that's the way they measure stuff. And that's not to say that they're wrong in what they're doing, but it's just in the sense of, like, that's not how I'm going to go about measuring it. And so, like, um, my recommendation would be, like, it sucks. Oftentimes, the hardest thing for doing qualitative, like, research is figuring out how you're going to measure that,
Hmm.
because oftentimes qualitative topics, qualitative concepts, right? There isn't an A. There, the thing I always used to say is there's no API for qualitative, right? There's nothing. You can't just be like, oh yeah, pull a table that shows how much people enjoyed stuff.
No
That
idea.
that doesn't exist, right? Like, if you're even going to try and think about how much somebody enjoyed stuff, it's like, okay, well, we gotta send them a survey. We have to figure out what they like. We have to figure out how much they get them to fill out a surveys. The hardest thing you can ever do, get somebody to stop what they're doing and fill out a survey.
Yes.
Like,
That's why you
they-
incentivize, right? I got a survey from Zaxby's down here right now that was like, you can get a free Zax meal, which is like $12 if you buy one just to fill out the survey. I'm like, I get a $12 meal for free? Hell yeah. But like the free fries, if you tell us how good we are, I'm never filling that out. Ever.
right.
Ever.
And I mean, something that I've learned up to this point too, as well, is there's actually an upper limit. There's actually an upper limit.
Is there?
If the thing you're asking somebody to do just takes one too many hoops, it doesn't matter. They're not going to fill it out.
Yep.
There's just not. Yeah. Ask somebody, like, the killer I've always seen is ask somebody to change devices, like to go to another device and do something. Oh, you gotta throw some money, right, to
Yep.
get somebody to go onto another device, or go to another location, like, what is it? It's not a scam, but if you've ever bought a car, you know that they're like, oh, come get, you know, a $300 gift card if you come in and just test drive a car.
Yeah.
Really, they're trying to get you to test drive a car because they want to get your information and then try to sell you on a car, right? But my car to switch to Apple. Oh, jeez. But
Wow.
like, that's the whole thing, right? Like, you gotta it. But there's actually an upper limit. I've seen, right, where, I mean, I'm sure you could keep raising it to the point where you're going to get some people to continue to participate.
Yeah.
But, like, you're going to see a huge drop off within a certain range. Whatever the incentive is has to outweigh the amount of time somebody's putting in, because it's not how humans perceive effort, right? You don't perceive effort from somebody else's perspective. You perceive it from your perspective.
Right.
So my effort, I see higher value than you see it looking at me, right? which sucks because then it leads to situations like you've explained where you're getting measured of quantitative KPIs when it's really
quantitative over things you don't have control over, which is the best part. I am at the mercy of 3 other entities, literally 3 other entities, and it is my responsibility to be held accountable for a failure on any of their other parts, but I am not their manager. And one of them is an external party that is not tied to the company. It's actually other people that do not relate at all to anything we do. It's the best. But those things happen in middle America, in the white collar 9 to 5 all the time. It's crazy, and it's usually from really bad management. Insecure management, rather, who can just look at something and go, that is your staple of measurement. Do not detract from this. This is how we're gauging your success, no matter what. And God, if I could get one person to tell me that they opened an email that I wrote and decided that this was the time that they're finally going to buy a new console. God, isn't that like the best thing ever, when they were maybe on the fence or maybe just kind of disenfranchised with Xbox or whatever the case may be, and then you sent something and it was so impactful that they were like, you know what? I might buy that bundle. That sounds like a great idea. And they did it. That's the best measure of success you could have. That one person now is your raving fan and is probably going to tell like 68 people that they are back in love with the thing that they were not so sure about, and now you have a fan for life. That's more valuable than any metric that you could provide with that one interaction.
Right. I mean, like, and see, that's the thing. Like, can't measure. Like, that's impossible. Like, it's like that's impossible to measure to a degree. There's ways to get certain information that leads to that assumption, right? But you'll never know unless call up somebody and like, hey, did you get that email? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, did you buy a console? Yeah. Why? Well, because that. Oh, okay, cool. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
I can't do that for 3,000 people, right? Or however many people get a certain email. It's a lot more than 3,000. That email list scares me sometimes, but luckily I don't have to do that part. Just in the design, I just make it look pretty. I
would just like to imagine you hand emailing every single person on the list. That's what I'm picturing now. You in a small, like, dimly lit cubicle in the corner somewhere, because you're a PM, so you got the corner office, but it's like a 2x2, so you're kind of like in this corner and you're just like feverishly entering email addresses. You can't even copy and paste. It doesn't exist. You're hand typing email addresses in from this paper list that they gave you. You're like, okay, hey Bill, I've got this great console for you, and it would be really cool if you could check this out, Bill. Please reply that Bill, did you get this email, Bill? And you follow up like every day. You're following up with Bill. Like, Bill just ghosts you, and you're like, why did Bill not? No, none of that's happening.
No, definitely not gonna happen. I will say that I've noticed there's a degree to the whole personalization thing with like messages and stuff. There's a personalization, like there's like it's like are you familiar with like what's it called? Uncanny Valley. Do you know what that is?
What? You have all these concepts that Microsoft has taught you. I don't know any of these things. What is going on?
No. That comes from learning. Pre-Microsoft.
I am unlearned, apparently. Yes. Teach me this uncanned Silicon Valley.
No, Uncanny Valley.
That's the one.
The Uncanny Valley is a thing they found in psychology to where it's like a feeling of unease, they call it. I think that's what they called it, unease or uneasiness or feeling of upset when you see a face that's just slightly off. Like it doesn't, like it's like when you see like a mirrored face, right? And you know it's mirrored. Like you ever seen like somebody where it's like split, you like know that face is mirrored, or there's like the angle is weird and it's not perfectly matched, right? Like when you see a face that's just slight, there's like an uncanny valley where it's almost there. It's almost there, but it's not. Then you're more likely to distrust that, right?
Yeah.
Or think that it's upsetting to you. Versus something that's like completely not cartoonish, right? Like if something is cartoonish, you're like, oh yeah, it's whatever, it's cartoonish. I
Right.
know what that is. Your brain recognizes that. But when you see something that's just close enough to being like a person's face, but something's off, like they're missing lips or like something's where it's like they're just slightly off, then it bothers people.
Yeah.
So what I've noticed is when you have a personalization to the point, and like it like steps in and it's like, I know that's not something talking to me, or I know that's like, I will say my instance of that is the first time in Forza Horizon 4 when it called out my
Yep.
first name
Yep.
out of nowhere, and I was like,
You were like, slow that
Excuse
shit down.
me. It's like, hey Brady, how's it going? I was like, whoa, I don't know you.
Who you, woman?
Well, you don't know my name. Call me by my gamer tag, right? Like,
You call me by my government name. What is happening?
right. But I mean, like, it's the whole thing of where like it's that person, right? Like you're like, it's not a real person.
Dopey, have fun with that. My son and my wife are watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now. I don't know how far they're in, but they watch like 2 episodes a night. It's crazy. Yeah, no, that personalization is crazy. It's like, how much information do you really know about me already? And I mean, we all know data collection, right? And you have all this data. I look at like TikTok, you have all this data. It's like, okay, there's only so much you can do with that to the consumer, because eventually they're going to be freaked out by it, and you're never going to get that back.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely. I mean, that's my thought on it as well, right? Like you're not going to sit well. I also worry with that is that you're going to like end up pigeonholing people, right? Like into like, oh, we personalized it to your tastes that we measured 3 years ago off of your user data.
But now you got 2 kids and you lost your house, and
maybe, yeah, maybe. And see, the thing is too, you gotta factor in like what's going on out there. What else? What other things are they exploring? Maybe like you moved or you went and stayed with somebody for a little bit and they only had a PC. And you got on a PC and you got super deep into some random JRPG game, and
Yep.
now you're coming back and you're like, I need more JRPGs in my life. But you're cool. Like if we said, oh, well, you were on the platform, you only like shooter games, so you want all these Call of Duties, you want Battlefields,
you're
and
like,
then you're like,
no.
I don't care about any of this, right? Like I want to learn about all this other stuff, right? Um, so you gotta know how to have messages that are very specific, and then also explore stuff at the same time. That's a lot.
I learned the hard way about a half a year ago when I was testing this data for this nonsensical KPI that when I over personalize, we had all this data we could use to personalize these messages, and we would personalize them, and I would put it just a name, put it out there, send it, get the responses, measure them, go generic, just good morning, good afternoon, whatever. All of a sudden, my open rates doubled. Like, what happened? Like, oh, okay, I didn't include that. Could I reach you on this phone number? Oh, I didn't include that they're in this city. And all of a sudden, my open rates shot through the roof significantly. And they were personalizing these messages for, I don't know, 10 years. And all of a sudden, I just decide this is dumb and I'm going to take it out. Boom, it changes. So it's interesting to what you said. It's people's comfort level with privacy versus convenience.
Yeah, like it's like the whole. It's you just have to find where to meet somebody, and
And
just to be
everybody's different
completely.
too. That's the craziest part, is you can't. Everyone's going to have a different take on what's comfortable to them.
Oh yeah, it's all that tinfoil hat stuff. But yes, Philhammer is also right. By the way, when he mentions the Kool-Aid, there are Kool-Aid machines on campus that just have Kool-Aid all the time.
Like actual, like you're like actual Kool-Aid.
Of course not
Oh,
actual Kool-Aid.
like I would believe that. I would believe that would be a Bill Gates leftover eccentricity, 100%.
No, they have Talking Rain, and I forget what the actual other drink is. Fusion.
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 What is that? What is fusion?
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it with the FDA present.
Oh my god.
No, Fusion. It's just a it's another soft drink, energy drink type thing. Um,
What I'm learning about something very seedy here, I think, and I don't know how I feel about it.
no, it's not. It's just it's literally just like sent off. Nothing but coffee machines. Yeah. Oh yeah. I can confirm there are coffee machines, often two per floor, two sets per floor. At least in Studio D there was.
Okay, so then we're gonna end with this question. Okay, this question, then I have to tell you something important that you didn't realize that happened. The first thing, what is the crate? Because I gotta get. I talked to you for another 2 hours. You do know this, right? Like
We've done it. We've done it before. We can do this again.
we,
You can come up with questions. If you want to interview me about what it's like to be in community management for gaming, happy to do that.
you're ruining my foreshadow. Hold on. To pause the segue for a second. Number one, what is the maybe strangest isn't the right word, but in the realm of like coffee machines on every floor, one of those eccentricities. What is the craziest thing you've seen on campus that you can talk about?
Craziest thing
Like
I've
like
seen.
that, like a coffee machine on every floor, or like an FDA and not FDA approved energy drink, something like that. Like something like that. That you were like,
Um.
that is insane.
Oh, jeez. See that I will say this is harder because this definitely happens like when you're first there, and then you just slowly like become like dead to it. Well, just like it's like you're like, oh, of course,
Of
yeah,
course,
the
it's
Xbox,
yeah.
hashtag Xbox, right? Like things, right? Like, of course that's happening. The the craziest thing I've seen on campus.
It's like I'm asking the Larry King hard hitting questions here. I didn't realize. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it's just I'm trying to think of like what it is. You saw people having.
In the coffee machine, in it, Teal, not on,
Hey,
in it.
hey, hey! You work enough. I used to have to work for Xbox support until like 1 a.m. You start to see some things. Like that means you need to stop tweeting. You get a weird crystal award. Oh,
I've seen this. I know all about that, which is insane
that
to
is a,
me.
you haven't even seen the big ones though. That's the thing. You can need a look. You can probably find them on Twitter. I've seen them posted on
Yeah.
certain things. There are bigger ones, and there are ones where you're supposed. So you know how we have like the ambassador's coin, right?
Yep.
So they have those, but for things you've shipped and
Oh,
like plaques you built, right? Like with different items that like different products you've shipped.
that's so
That is,
cool.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's a weird thing, but it's like one of those like, what is that? Um, the okay, so I will say the weirdest thing that stood out to me when I first got there is the amount of just stuff that was it like blew my mind when I first got to Studio D. It's not the same anymore, but when I first got there, they had just so much like it's almost like they were trying to shove video games down your throat the moment you came in the door
Hmm.
with how many statues they had. If you went up to the where the marketing department was for like the third party games, right? Like they off like if you walked by their offices, it was just packed full of different items and marketing products that went along with games that they'd put out, right? Like one of the things like there was one person who had an office that was full of every Dead Rising marketing item because
Wow.
that was their job, right? Like
Yep.
that was their job is to make sure they quality checked all that kind of stuff, had got it, saw what it like, and over the you can imagine over years of working either on a game or working for just as third party marketing manager, they're just full of stuff. Biggest Vault Boy, huge. Seen that 100%. Seen that Vault Boy up front. I've stood next to multiple 7-foot statues of the guy from Skyrim,
Mm-hmm.
the Dragonborn, standing next to a suit of armor from Fallout, standing next to different Laura Crofts, which was a little weird, but it went through a rebrand. Uh, did Laura Crofts, all that kind of stuff. A gorilla. Zoo Tycoon.
Oh,
Or-
Jesus.
But like that one was scary because you had to come around a corner and it'd be there, and so you just see something like like a giant dog. It looked like out of the corner of your eye at the end of the hall, and you're just like, oh no, this is how it happens, right? Like
This is how it happens.
right. Oh, uh, also I'll give you the secret one.
Okay.
Um,
Secret. Yeah. On record,
in
secret.
in a large tech company, what is the number one thing that you think is inside of a tech company? It's an easy answer. It's not.
Like computers?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, imagine how many people work at Microsoft.
Yep. Like what, 180,000 people? I can't remember the number. It's a lot.
It's like, now imagine how many people work inside of a building or on a campus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now remember how often tech changes.
Yep.
What's the number one thing in a tech company? You got to have the best tech.
Yep.
So you would end up, there would literally be times you would walk out into the hallway and there would be a sea of just tech stuff exploded into like the recycling, into like the needing to wipe hard drives, and they would just literally be just endless amounts of just tech that people would like need to like get rid of because they need to get the new thing, they need to get another machine, they're upgrading the server for whatever thing they're working on, blah blah blah, all those old Logitech keyboard. Oh my gosh, the number, I think you could probably build a small island to rival Japan of Lenovo ThinkPads.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure of it.
Poured out there, right? And so I think that was one of the weirder things where I'm like, what is all this? And I guess this was also really weird for me coming from just before going to Xbox, working for the state, where they had computers that were cream colored, right? And this is like 2011. And people still had cream-colored computers.
Who does that?
Yeah, it was state governments.
Yeah, sitting in the hallway for free for anyone to take, but your $3,000 ask was out of the budget.
Well, not okay. I do have to clarify, right? Like, it's not that stuff wasn't free to take.
No, I know that. I know it was in jest. I get it, but like you have all this tech sitting there, right? You have all this tech. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
Right. And so it's there, and it's like the whole thing, and it's just that type of mentality, right? Like we have to churn through this, right? Cool. Burnt through a server. Next, right? Like tried compiling a bunch of stuff and melted a server. Got to get a new server PC to run that. Okay. Right? As long as you can figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Circling back, Mod Pizza is it is the only thing that matters now. I'll say that. There used to be an amazing burger place that had amazing shakes, and they left. It's so sad.
Who gets to decide who leaves and comes into the buildings?
Wait, like who, into the building?
Like is that like a lease? Like the burger place left? Like who decided the burger place was going to leave?
I don't know who decided. Lunchbox Labs, yeah, rip that.
Terrible.
I'm not sure who decided that.
Because if everyone loved the burger place, why would you get rid of the burger place?
Oh, some people didn't love the burger place. I'll say that. I'll give people credit, but I mean, when you can get an orange creamsicle shake with sprinkles on top of it,
I'm on board.
Like,
I'm on board. So listen, this is first and foremost, this has been amazing. I don't think you expected this to go down either, but I didn't expect this to go down.
For sure.
Something I'm working on, and what I wanted to work on before stupid storms ruined things for a while, is I had an idea to. We started it with the SMG Studio thing when we brought on the ID at Xbox dudes to come talk about their game before the game launched. Like it was a brilliant idea. I was going to turn that into a segment with Mixer partners and like do a little like interview with Mixer partners, and Mixer partners would talk about the program, and the program would talk about the Mixer partner, and everybody wins on the platform. And like, we're going to call it Mix It Up. I built, I don't know if I ever told you this. I built like 9 pieces of imaging for it. I built a graphic for it. We never used it. So
you don't even want to get me started on projects.
I can relate to that as someone who's been doing this for a long time. I get that. so I wanted to, now that we're back on Twitch and we're working on things, part of what I want to do, and a person that I respect, both lyrically and as a broadcaster, is Joe Budden, a good rapper who's got the #1 podcast on Spotify. He does the Pull Up, where he sits down. He's an old school rapper. Now he's a broadcaster. He sits down with these artists, and they just have conversation. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no anything going on. They just talk. And I'm putting that together as we speak, literally building imaging and getting some people together to do it over Zoom. And eventually when, orange people decide that a sickness that's going around is real, we'll be able to, go back out and meet people, which is crazy. We're going to be sitting down, and I'm planning on doing the same exact thing. I don't know what I'm calling it yet, but I'm working on it. This, my friend, unknowingly, you have officially been the first episode, I think.
Oh, jeez.
This is good. No, this was the best content. We talk about not knowing the impact you have on something, or we talk about not being aware of, not being able to measure when something blows up, and all the goodness that you talked about. This is it, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true. I don't know if you knew that till just now, but this is it.
No, I didn't know that. I mean, that's good. I mean, that's the whole. I think that's that's my goal. I mean, you'd say, like, how do you measure success? For success for me is that when I step away, things happen. Whatever that is for people, right? Like,
I understand that. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm literally getting up. Fun fact that you probably don't know because you don't hang out in the Ambassadors Discord anymore. I'm getting up at 4 a.m. on Saturday, Eastern time. Today, and the reason why I'm doing that is because today, Edge, right? The Edge 1970. Love him. He built a $2,500 gaming computer with peripherals, the HD Pro, and 2 HD monitors for Pandy, and brought it to her today and set it up today. And then on Saturday, I go in and we put together her layout, set up the stream stuff, and walk through all that stuff on Saturday for her to start streaming.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
We talk about things happening and doing cool shit and making things happen and doing it because it's the right thing to do and because it's going to create amazing things later without expectation. That's why we align, you and I. I feel like that's why we always aligned, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the things that I'll be honest, it's one of the things that I honestly looked for in anybody that I considered to be on the Ambassadors channel. Was because, that was the whole thing, right? Like, if I'm expecting you to go out there and make content, you have to want to make it, right? You have to care about it. It has to be something you get, like, it has to be something that you find value in making without somebody watching you do it. I definitely saw that.
Yep.
And not anybody that made it onto the channel.
Yep.
But I definitely saw that in people, and so it's like, that's the whole thing. You got to have that. And so that I would say that's definitely one thing that I saw in you that I was like, perfect. He gives, like, he can do something and care about it without needing to be handheld into caring about it, right? So yeah,
I'll tell you this.
You gotta get that hooked up. Whatever it is.
Oh, we're doing it. Like, it's happening. I just got to find the right methodology, but we're doing it. Like, it's happening.
And the time.
And well, no, the time's gonna be. I've dedicated time every night now to kill myself to get 2 hours of sleep a night to be a dad and do work. And people don't realize, but you can attest to this. Playing games is easy. Creating content is hard.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
And this takes a lot more time than sitting in front of Fortnite running rounds 24/7. Not just Fortnite, but like just running rounds. Like, that's not that takes time, but like the level of intricacies that is required to do this is not even in the same ballpark. And that from the just chatting. Every just chatter that's in the Twitch category is like, that's a lot more that goes into it than people realize. And so we're gonna build the time into this and make that happen. But I want to tell you this before we leave. I don't think I've ever told you this before, so I'm going to tell you this now on air.
Oh.
No, this is a good thing. You talk about leaving impact and making sure things happen. I swear to you, I would have retired after the hurricane and not picked up the microphone again if you didn't send that DM while I was homeless and said, "Hope you're good. Sorry everything's going on. You'll make it through." All the stuff you said, I swear to you, I would have retired.
Oh.
And I don't think I've actually said that on air ever or to anybody. Like, you can ask my wife. She was there. I said, okay, we got to figure our shit out then, don't we? We got to get our shit together because we have people who are sending me a chair while I don't have a place to live. Thanks for the gesture. I understand. Send it to my mailbox where I'm getting mail because I don't have a house right now. And they called me and they were like, we have a 70-pound package here. I'm like, what the hell do you have? They're like, yeah, but you need to come go get it. I'm like, where am I going to put it? I don't have, I guess it's going in my storage unit. But the level of give a shit that you had for that to just DM where other people thought not to or thought that I was making things up in the community is appreciated and seriously a determining factor in me even wanting to build this thing that you see, which is the same room, by the way, from the ambassador streams, just now without the foam and with lights. But yeah, you had a direct impact in that, and I just wanted to share that with you since you were so candid with me here. And meanwhile, America Girl is here, and that
oh, look, it's America.
That's fitting to the entire conversation. But yeah, sir, you were an integral part, Teal, in that, and I just wanted to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, and I think that's.
I have to tell you. I don't have to tell you anything.
I mean, like, I think that's one of the bigger things I learned, right? Like, it's like absolutely one of the things that I took away from it is in all of it, you just have to take, like, when you're working with community stuff, like, you just have to, sometimes you have to take away the fact of, like, I'm in X corporate location, right, doing thing, and it's like, nope, you just have to send somebody a message and let them know, you know, for anything else that the other, hosts went through at the time, like 100% just have to let them know, like, you just gotta be out there to be like, you know what, I recognize you're a person. Shit might suck right now for you, right? Like, and no matter how me saying like, hey, cool, it's not gonna change that. But you just gotta be there, right? Like, it's just like, hey, we're gonna be here regardless. Things are shitty. When things you're feeling it and you've got that energy back, or like whatever it is, right? Like when you've got the time, you having to get a new house. That's a little bit different than
took some
whatever,
time,
but like took some time. But it's the whole thing, like, right? Like, hey, we're still here.
But I was motivated when we got here. The first thing I did was, and I'll share you pictures one of these days. I took a lot of pictures, but like, I found the room. We looked at all the rooms when we finally picked out the house that we wanted. We're like, this is going to be the office and the stream room. First thing I did was, okay, we need desks. We need a monitor. We need this. We need that. Went and got my board repaired. Went and got the mic fixed. Called up Rode. Rode sent a replacement. I'm like, we're doing it. Like, I would not have. And that's the thing. And I would challenge you. You said, you could send that message and it might not be, it might not matter or it might not help because, there's real shit happening. I would challenge you, and this is my heart of hearts belief. I don't know if we've talked about this before. So like psychic equity is a thing. When you do the right thing because it is the right thing to do, you do change things. You change, maybe not now, but that butterfly effect is real. And that impact 6 months, 6 weeks down the road, whenever it happens, is going to impact. And that does change things. So maybe there's more to it than you saying that you say the right thing because you're human. I think it has a bigger impact. That energy that you put out there into the world has weight to it.
I mean, I definitely agree with that, and that is for an after midnight conversation.
It's 12:49 over here, sir.
that metaphysical properties, but we can do that another time. You need to go to sleep.
I do.
Um,
I do. But yeah,
so
this is the first episode of my whatever the pull up is going to be.
yeah,
You had no idea. I had no
I
idea.
had no idea.
A part
I've
two.
never,
Go
I
ahead.
haven't been able to do a pull up since like middle school.
Yeah,
So
me
I don't.
neither. Don't feel bad. Um, this was unexpected. I'm sorry I didn't recognize you, but I'm so glad it happened the way that it did.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I wouldn't I
Again,
wouldn't I wouldn't feel as happy as I am now if I knew. So
at first when you started reacting, I was like, what? What is he so excited about? Somebody DMing something? And then you were like, if you're who I think you are. And I was like, oh, he didn't get that.
I didn't get
Uh,
it. I was in
I
the
was like,
moment. I was in the moment.
I thought you were just being coy. Like,
No.
the whole,
I
I
was
mean,
just
because I
I
don't,
was just doing yes and I was playing along with whatever chat is saying because that's what I do.
I do gotta get back into the ambassadors Discord.
People will
For
lose
long
their
time.
mind. People will lose their mind more for you than I think if Phil showed up in there.
Yikes! I don't think I'm that. Okay.
We talk about you a lot. You have no idea.
Oh, jeez. Is my name still on certain stuff? Like posts
I
of
have
rules?
I have no idea. Maybe it's possible.
My biggest worry is that if I go back into the channel, somehow the server bots are gonna detect I'm there and like then try to like assign me roles. I set up the server to try and be foolproof on its own with the bot. Set my worries. If I go back in, it's gonna be like, "Hey, you're here. Cool. You're responsible for all this stuff."
It's like Dad.
Well, it's gonna be more like assign all of these roles to people and approve this thing. And I'll be like, "No, it's not my job."
They come running to you. Dad, you're back. Yay! Do things. Play with me.
Start sending me logs of stuff, and I'm like, "No, I don't need this."
You got to do what Rux did. You got to come in with your alt tag.
Oh, that's right. I'll set up another one. I'll call myself Cyan.
Please do, and don't tell anybody except me. Please let it be Cyan, and we'll just have conversations, and then you drop the bomb like 3 days later.
Okay.
Can we play the long game on this one? You talk about long game. Can we commit to this?
I will do it. I will change myself to Cyan. I think I'll have to say it. Maybe I'll set up a different account, just a temp one or something like that. So it's like,
yes, please.
not attached to it. Everybody in chat though has to promise. Pinky promise to keep it a
don't say anything.
Secret.
Chat, don't say anything. They won't say anything. Havor will ruin it, but they won't say anything.
They just won't believe Havor because they're not listening.
That's right, because he's wrong all the time.
He's wrong. See, he's telling the truth. That's the whole thing. He's telling the truth.
The long game, damn it.
You gotta believe him.
Well, this is going up on YouTube. This conversation, 100%. For those to watch it. Really valuable information in here that I didn't expect to happen. I'm so glad you shared everything.
Yeah, definitely happy to do it, and especially if you have more questions or you want to talk about something specific, let me know. I work much better with structured questions. Otherwise, I just ramble and go on forever.
That's what I like, though. Larry King said the best thing he ever did was when his producers would give him notes on the guest was to not use them.
Oh, jeez.
And he said it's because it created childlike curiosity.
Oh, interesting.
And it created a level of interest that would allow for a more natural, engaging way to talk to the guests, to get answers that they weren't prepared to answer, to get questions that he otherwise would not ask. And I think it's safe to say that he's probably one of the top 3 broadcasters ever. Safe?
Yeah, that's true.
So I take that approach a lot. I do a little bit of research when I talk to not you, but like guests. But that childlike, in the moment curiosity, the questions I ask, the questions we discussed, they're because they're interesting. I think these are things people want to know. Like I may have answers to some of these things, but these are things people want to know. And that's how I go. That's how I've done my whole career is when I heard him say that in an interview in 2005. It's what made me a better radio DJ, and it's what made me a better podcaster. And I try to build upon that. I try to do a little bit more prep work than he said because he's got like a team of people that can give him a synopsis, and I don't. But I try to do a little bit of research and just go into it cold and feel that natural curiosity, and it builds. I think, a better rapport with people, because you act like you care, and then for you don't know what you're going to get yourself into, and we got into a whole existential conversation about measuring KPIs that are stupid and finding ones that work, and that would have never happened if we didn't expound upon Havor being wrong all the time.
That's true.
Ever.
That's true.
Listen, man, I love you, and I don't say that often, but I love you.
I love you too. I love you too.
And
Okay.
I owe you another big bear hug soon.
For sure. You keep doing cool shit. I'll be around.
Please do. Don't be a stranger. I'll be sad.
Cyan will pop in every once in a while.
Cyan will pop in. Tealish will pop in. Let me know when you're working on cool stuff, and we can talk about it whenever you decide that that's okay to do.
Yeah, I need to know more about that private conversation. Don't forget that, okay?
There was nothing bad. It was nothing bad.
No.
The only bad things were said about things that have happened after you left.
Okay.
Everything that was said in that conversation was about how amazing it was about some things, and then you left, and those things were no longer amazing.
Gotcha.
That is the gist of the conversation. Yep. The tweets. Oh, it was the tweets and the memes.
Oh, I mean, I was always distracting. Okay, I will let you get back to this. End your show. Do a good job at your ending. Is your weakest part all the time I ever met you. Intro, spot on. Ending, leaves something to be desired. Jever can back me up on that one.
How do you want me to end the show? What do you want me to do?
I can't tell you how to do this, man. Okay, you gotta figure it out.
Okay, what's your constructiveness about it? What don't you like?
No, that's not. I'm not the producer here. Okay, you can talk to your producer about that.
Jerry's asleep. He fell asleep when you mentioned qualitative. He's dead.
Talking about Havor.
I'm not trusting him to be a producer of my content. Are you kidding me?
Dance routine. Oh, see, that could be a good one.
You don't want to see this penguin dance. Let me tell you that much right now. No, what? Okay, you say you don't like the ending. What don't you like about it? You open this can. No, the problem is when you say something, I put 9 tons of weight on it.
Okay. Here's I don't even know if this is still an issue. The last time I watched an ending to your stream, a while ago.
When was this?
The biggest, I don't even know, man. Come on, man.
Mixer still? Twitch?
Yeah, probably Mixer still.
Okay.
The biggest issue was just figuring out where to go next to like get more stuff. Like if it was going on to Discord to chat with you there. It always seemed like there was either too much options on where to go as a viewer, or like just like what to go like. You got to give them a landing point. Right?
Call to action.
Whatever you want to call it, right?
That's it.
Fade out. You did often cut off in the middle of a sentence. I will say that. You got better once you had like an ending screen, but don't do that.
Yeah, well, now I have an ending screen. It's a shitty one, but I have an ending screen.
Hey, having one's half the battle. Seriously.
You know what? Step 1, right?
Yeah. So let me see how you do with your ending. See if you've gotten better. Maybe you've improved. Okay.
I'm just gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it off right now. That's what I'm doing.
I'm gonna let Javer be the voice of reasoning. If he says it sucks, man, okay, you're gonna have to work on it.
No, if he says it sucks, then I know it's fake. If he says he didn't like this, then I know it's real. Understand the difference. Okay. Well, he interacts with me differently than he interacted with you. I promise you this. Now we're back to the beginning.
Okay, for sure.
We've gotten nowhere in this conversation.
Back to the beginning again.
Teal, I love you. You're amazing. I don't know if anyone's told you that recently other than myself, but you are.
Just my fan group.
You have a private Facebook link, because I need to link back into the.
We can talk about that. We can talk about that another time.
Love you, BB.
It's $25 to get in.
OnlyFans? What's happening? What have you become?
Premium snaps. Anyways, it's been good. Love you.
Love you. Bye. Okay, bye.